All right, let's get after it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's House Edge Live with John from Pro Craps on Casino Gaming TV. My door is open. I get that weird room echo from out there. So anyway, here we are. It's a Friday. It was a short week this week. We had the couple days off there early on, but today's gonna be a fun one. And we're going to talk a little bit about bankroll and money management and some techniques that you can use in your rack to sort of manage the opportunity piece of it. All right, let's look at the bridge. Big part of today is going to be about bankroll, right? We're talking about bankroll money management today. And I think what I hope we can come up with is some triggers for you when we talk about identifying opportunity, right? Time to go, time to stay. Lean in, back away. There's going to be tricks we can use with the bankroll, with our rack. And again, you may not agree with all of them, and that's perfectly fine with me. I'm just going to give you some things to think about and hopefully put your brain in a place where you can kind of see where you are easier, I think, with the Lammer system I'm going to show you, and then make decisions based on where you currently are. Ideally, we keep our emotions under control, we hit our goals, and even maybe a little bit beyond the goal. And this might be a little bit of excess play too. So anyway, as always, there's no guaranteed way to win these games, right? There's no guaranteed way to win the casino unless you are the casino. So all this is for entertainment purposes only, obviously, right? I got asked a great question yesterday, actually, in the comment section yesterday. I forget which video it was, but I think it was Odds Working asked me, who is the bridge for? Like, who's your intended audience for this mess, right? Like, is it for the advantage player or for the beginner? And I think both to some degree. Advantage players sometimes go a little bit nuts because they think they have an advantage, and they can outgun themselves in terms of strategy, bankroll, the crazy mindset, right? I think beginners just don't have the knowledge, right? So part of this is like building knowledge in beginners of how all this actually kind of plays together so they don't get killed out there. For the advantage players or for the more advanced players, I want to recenter you a little bit and be like, don't forget the basics of like keeping yourself under control, right? All that is important. So anyway, looking ahead at our schedule here, we have after Craps for the Cure, Big AZ's right after us. Right after Big AZ is Casino Tiers in Vegas. Only the 4th has openings, I think. Then they go into their January, March, May, July schedule. Brownwater Bash, of course, is a different thing than the Casino Tiers events. But yeah, they're all, get signed up there. Go to Casino Tiers website and get signed up with them. And whatever else comes up in the schedule, I'll, of course, be letting you know. But from my end of things, Craps for the Cure is coming up. Obviously, we're just like 3 weeks away now. Or 3 weeks, 4 weeks away. It's my birthday weekend. I'll be 57 on Friday the 12th there. And then we hit it for 2 days. We got a private table at Palace Station. We've got plenty of spots available. There's tickets are only $100. Get yourself to Vegas. Flights are cheap right now. Nobody's coming to Vegas. The rooms are super cheap. It's the time to be there, actually. For $100, you get to hang out with us. Get you a little tchotchke bag. It's gonna be kind of cool. We're gonna be able to meet a veteran who has a service dog from Veterans Moving Forward. He's gonna be there with us for the whole thing. So we'll probably be teaching craps a little bit. Should be kind of fun. Pardon me, to have him there and really kind of tell the story of why we're doing all this. It's nice to have a charity, but it's better to have the impact like right in front of you. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Again, tickets are $100. If you want to, if your budget's low, which a lot of people's budgets are low right now, go to the website crapsforthecure.com. You'll see a link there that says fund the training, and you can literally buy like a box of poop bags. You can buy a collar. You can buy the next blanket. All the things the dogs need moving forward, you can buy the little things and see that your money goes right into like what it's supposed to go to for the animals. It's a really great way to get direct donations directly into a dog. There's also opportunity to buy bigger and more fun things, like gargoyles felt, like dice coach lessons and all this kind of stuff. So get to the website. You can see we've raised about $2,600 so far, on our way to 50. And that's going to be where we're headed. All right. No PSO would like some dice coaching from G. Interesting. I'm not sure if he would ever do a private lesson. And I'm the same way, actually. I don't like, one thing you'll get to from me soon is when I do eventually move to Vegas, and we're going to move there part-time. Our plan is to buy a home in Vegas and kind of live here in Wenatchee in Vegas, kind of back at like snowbirding it kind of. And when I'm there, I'm going to absolutely be working live at the facility. Besides running software for them, I'm going to be working at CQ, giving lessons and teaching players and teaching dealers. So you can do that as soon as I'm working there. You can come out there and hang out. We'll for sure do some one-on-one time. All right, let's hit the topic of the day, which is the secret sauce. Okay, the secret sauce. If I was ever going to do a clickbait title, I would call it the secret sauce of gambling, right? The secret sauce of gambling, there's a couple of them, okay? One, my famous grinder sauce. Now, if y'all know, you can see it right there. There's John, by the way, as a chef. I actually was, when I was 22, 23, something like that, I went to culinary school and got my gold medal chef degree or whatever you call it. And I cooked for quite a few years before I started coding. Anyway, the secret grinder sauce, right? The grinder, one of my favorite all-time meals is a nice meatball grinder, right? With a little bit of pepperoni on the bread underneath the meatballs. Oh my God. Anyway, the grinder recipe is this. It's 1 dash of losing, 1 dollop of winning, and 1 foot out the door. That's the recipe. You want to grind? I showed you how to grind for a month. We did the pass line parlay. We did the headless horseman. We did the step ladder. All these boring, tiny, slow little wins, that's grinding, right? You'll notice that in all of those, right? When I lose, I don't lose a lot. We have our lowest possible bet out there all the time, right? If we catch a little run, the bets go up really quick, right? So we win a lot when it goes well. We win a little bit when it doesn't go well, okay? The minute we get profit at all in that series, we left, right? In real life, maybe it's a little more meaningful profit. Maybe it's like, turning whatever, maybe it's a black chip is your goal, right? But your foot's out the door once you hit the goal, or you stop playing or you stop risking. When I say foot out the door, it doesn't mean you have to leave. It means you got to stop risking your money. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Your foot is out the door. You stop risking your money at some point. That's the grinder sauce, right? Lose a tiny bit, win a decent amount, and always have your foot off the gas. Be ready to walk. Be ready to lock and reload, right? That's the grinder sauce. The other secret sauce, though, is the hot sauce, Johnny's hot sauce, right? Which is a gallon of jet fuel, 2 big nuts, and a heavy right foot. These are the only ways, in my opinion, to win. A little bit of a grind, build that bankroll up. Then if it's going well, and you have excess money, Ken will talk to you about excess money in the chat, I'm sure. We have excess money, right? Or as you're grinding the table, you're leaning into something a little bit more warm, you can lean in with your jet fuel, with your excess money, right? And if you got the balls to do it, hit that gas, you can make a ton of dough. Craps is the one game, unlike other games, where you really have this crazy opportunity to just like level up. Like roulette doesn't do that. Blackjack doesn't do that unless you catch a miracle, right? It's a unique game in this respect, right? So the hot sauce and the grinder sauce work together, right? You can grind to build bankroll. You can use excess bankroll as your hot sauce. Now, what does that mean in real life? Okay, here's raise your hand, actually. I'm going to give you a quote here, okay? And in the chat, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but the prize goes to the winner. Who said this? Who said the quote down there? You can't make meatballs without the love. Without the love, they're just balls of meat. I'll give somebody a props if they can remember who says that, what TV show that's from, and who the actor or actress was that said it. Anyway, I look at ways to level it up, right? We're going to talk today about tiering. One of the things we talk about the bridge a lot is setting goal tiers and betting tiers and what that means for you. What does it look like in real life? Now, I did this big series, remember, called The Daily Paycheck. I took, I want to say 260 or something shows or whatever it was, from $10,000 to $100,000. It took me 200 and some episodes to get there, right? Building, grinding a little bit at a time. Ken is now, I think, were they 80 something and 0 or something like that? for the retirement plan, they've earned about 25,000 or something like that, right? It's 100 shows. He's 100 sessions in, right? And he's about $25,000 up. It takes a long time to build a massive bankroll when you're grinding. But without tiering things up, without understanding how betting and gold tiers work, you'll never get there, right? If you're bringing the same $1,000 every time and hoping that you keep winning and winning and winning, and you're going to somehow magically create this bankroll to play with, or create this repeatable way of winning, you're fooling yourself. You need to kind of marry up this idea of tiering up your bankroll, tiering up your bet sizes as you're going through the hot sauce and the grinder sauce, right? So what I want to talk about here a little bit is the ways we do this, right? So when you level up the love, I call it, right? Get your rack right, you lock and reload, and you tier up or tier down, and you can choose when to rinse and repeat or not, right? Let me, I'm going to switch table views here and see if I can't that's, again, the camera's in the wrong spot. Jeez, Lou. Let me, it always resets itself. It's funny, the camera, when my computer reboots, it did an upgrade last night, the camera for some reason resets itself and it goes into some weird random ass position like this. I got to get it to kind of wind itself back to home. Yes, no PSO. Everybody loves Raymond. It was Marie teaching Deborah how to make the spaghetti. Remember that? That's one of my favorite shows of all time, by the way. I love Raymond. All right, here we go. Let's bring this rack out here. I'm just going to talk to you in the middle of the table. I'm probably not going to do any rolling here, but I want to talk about bet tiers, and we'll use a very simple bankroll here. Okay, this bankroll is $600. There's $200 3 times. Now, first thing you notice is this, right? John does the Lammer thing, right? I use Lammers that I had custom made, but you can use the clear ones, right? You can put quarters in here. Doesn't matter what you do, but separate your money. Why? Because I can see what I have. Okay. Again, I'm a little old, right? So look, if I look down at this right here, how much money's in your rack? I have no freaking idea, right? If I look at this, I know, hey, I got $600 down there. Actually, if I make the stack the right size, right? I use that as a way to know. Right. Number one, rack management, know where you are, right? Number two is having some kind of a goal. And your goal doesn't have to be fixed. Let's pretend we're going to do the 1-3-2-4. Okay. Remember, the 1-3-2-4 we know wins us 8. Actually, before I even start that, why is my rack $600? Okay. A, it's easy, but B, let's pretend I have $6,000 in my bank account, right? And I break that into 10 pieces. I got to make sure I move this all so you can see it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you see all 10 purples, right? And I do this, right? So if I break my $6,000 bankroll into 10 sessions of $600 each, okay, that's how I tier myself. The first tier is this. My base bankroll that I have in the actual bank that I can go to an ATM with is that big, right? Let's take all this out. Right? 10% of that's what's coming to the session. $600, $600. That's the genesis of this money right here. It came out of the bank, right? 1/10 of my bankroll showed up here at the craps table. Okay, that's number one. Okay, number two is this. We're going to look at tiering this up. Now, if we play something like pass line parlay, and again, the pass line parlay is this. It takes 2 units, right? We'll take our $200 into 4 groups of 2. Okay. We know that, and the reason why I do this is this. I know that when I play a 1-3-2-4, it's a 2-unit play. Go to the pass line, it wins, I stack it, and I add 1. That's the 3. 1 to 3, 3 wins. I regress down to 2 units, okay? I'll take these 2 plus 2 of the wins back to the rack, and I play with 2. If the 2 units win, we let it ride. If the 4 units wins, we're in River City. What happens? We have our money back, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 units in profit, right? That's the idea. That thing works. You get 10 units in profit, okay? I take 1, 2, 3, 4 chances to win 10. That's what I'm doing. That's why there's 4 here. If it works, on the 4th one, I still win a net couple 2-4 units, right? That's the idea behind it. Okay, anyway. So let's just pretend that we win. I'm gonna kind of pretend with you that we go through this. Okay, let's say that the first bullet loses and the second bullet loses, but the third bullet wins 10. Let's take, again, I'm going to make it easy, not play it out, just to see. You have 10 units there. What would you do in your rack? Well, you rebuild your rack. Get your rack right. There's 2, 4, 6. That's my $200 that I had started with. Here I've got, again, if I lost twice and one on the third stack, I still end up with 2, 4, 6 units in profit. Okay, couple things we can do here. One, lock it up and go home. You can take $100 in profit, lock it up, take $50 and play it out, give it one more shot, right? Again, knowing where your rack is, right? Get the rack right, lock it up, and I can reload and try it again with $50. Now, I could take that $50 and do this with it. I can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of red and try it 5 more times. Give myself 5 more cracks at it with red chips and maybe turn one set of this into $100, right? You have your choice to tier down, right? Tier down your next level, or take the full 50 and work it that way. Up to you how you want to play that. And by the way, I'm using different colored chips to show you where the profit is, just so you can see. I should probably put these back as the main greens, so you can see that our profits are actually these different color chips. Anyway, that's one option that you've got. Okay, lock up your goal, play with the excess. That's option 1. And this, again, if you're ahead. Okay, another option you have is this. You can take this here, and let's say that we, instead of having our first bullet be $25 a piece, right? We can take these as nickels. Let's just take even, I have what here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 24 spots here. I can take 24 nickels. There's 10, 15, 24 nickels, which is $120. So 125 of my winnings with 5 change. And again, I'm locking up a profit of 30 here, right? And I can take that and give every single one of these bullets, every single one of these tries, another nickel. So now, instead of $25 chunks, we're doing, I'll just do these first ones here. We're going to go $30 chunks. Oh my goodness gracious, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Okay, there it is. I'm only going to do the first one. I'm not going to thread the needle for all these things, right? But pretend I did. Pretend that this is all here. That these all have. Now, what I'm doing is I've tiered up my bets, right? I've tiered it up. I've taken my profit that I won the first when it worked, right? And it was a small profit, right? I'm locking up 30, but I've raised everything up here by a little tiny bit more. Now, when I go out here at $30 and I do the same move with 30 and 30, the difference in the win, check it out. Let's say that move 1 doesn't work and move 2 doesn't work. But move 3, when I go out for 1, let's play it out. I'll show you what it wins, right? We win that. It goes up. I press to 3 Christmas tree units, right? And we win it, right? 1, 2, 3. We win this. 3 greens and 3 reds, right? We go back down to 2 units, right? Back down to 2. I'll put all this back in. I'll reset the rack here in a minute. Okay, the 2 units wins. I'll take it from here, actually. 1, 1, 2, and we'll go ahead and stack that up. And now we win again. 1, 2, 3, 4 greens, and the bonus of 1, 2, 3, 4 reds. Right? Again, we lost twice. We won on the third bullet. How does the rack get reset now? Let's check the rack out. There's 1. Let's see. It goes green, red, green, red. Green, red, that's 4. Green, red is 5. Green, red is 6. green, red 7, green, red 8. And now the resulting profit becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. 150, 60, 70, 180 instead of 130. And I can take the same exact tact. We can make each one of these things 2 reds and a green the next time through, right? So if I go 2 reds and a green, that means I'm going again up by the same number of 24 red chips, right? Or 120. Let's see, 24 red chips. So I'll go up by 24 red chips. And now I'm going to lock up more profit. Lock up $85 in profit. But these then all go up to a green and 2 reds. And notice how I'm taking the profits and I'm increasing the power of every single. And again, this would go all the way the whole rack, right? We're doing it just one slot, just so you can see it. Otherwise, my rack will be a mess. But you notice how I'm making each of my slugs a little bigger. Now I'm out here each time for $35. And every time we do it, you get an extra $50. If we win it again, $50 here, plus the $250 here. It's an extra $100 for those 2 reds. Every time you tier it up, right, you can win more money the next time that it works. And that works over time. Okay, so in a given session, you can, again, locking up profit and keeping this thing building as you go, right? Alternatively, like we said, you could leave your initial the same. Let's go back with the original bet. Get all the greens out of here. I wish there was a way to do this quicker, have all this stuff kind of preset like Julia Childs did, but all right, there's my original. Okay, if you take a look at where we are here, we're doing pretty good. There's that. Okay, so there's the original bankroll. We have all this too. Don't forget, we had all those other reds from before, right? If it works a couple of times through, okay, and you've got, there's your 2, 3. There's 100 in red. Okay, you've got 75, 175, $250 in profit because it worked through twice, and we built the bets up. That's fantastic, right? This becomes a meaningful enough win that you can make a decision with it. Remember, our original bankroll was $6,000. If we stopped playing, you say, look, I've got this. This is definitely enough money to go home with. Like I've way overhit my goal, 250. Okay. I can divide the 250 though by 6. If I put this back in the bank, my $600 goes back in to that 6,000, right? Remember the 6,000 we started with? 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's my $6,000, right? I'll spread these out so you can see them. I've got this 250 up here, okay? I can take the 250 and divide it 10 times, right? And now each one of these now becomes this. $625. And it doesn't seem like much, okay? When I go back home, when I go to the bank, and I go to the ATM machine, I put my money back in the ATM like I ought to, right? The next time I withdraw money, right, I'm withdrawing $625, not $600, which means these, although $25 won't go very far, at least in the first slug, I can take that $25 as nickels and make the first set a little bit bigger and go red-green for a few, right? You can level up from the bank the next time through. And if you win 250 again, you can do it again. And the next time you're bringing out 650. And before you know it, as your bankroll, your real bankroll grows, these become, maybe it's a green and red out of the gate. Maybe these are 2 greens at some point out of the gate, right? As your bankroll grows, so does your bet tiers, right? You buy in for a little more and your base bet stops being a quarter. Your base bet starts being 30. Your base bet starts being 40. Your base bet starts being 50. It takes time to do this, right? If you're going to win 250 at a time and your next time in is only $25 more than the last time, That's not a lot of power, but it's enough to get the engines kind of greased up. Over time, these will start looking like, instead of 625, it'll start looking like 1,000, right? After 10, 15, 20, 30 sessions where you can put money away, this becomes $1,000, not $600. And now these are definitely $40 slugs. You follow along? So that's one way of looking at it. Now, this also works in reverse. And I think, to be fair and honest, we have to make sure we have that conversation, because you could lose, right? And you probably will lose a few times. Let's just pretend. What happens here in the session? Let's get all this out of the way. What if we lose all this? What if we just have a bad day, the opposite, and you lose all of it? Okay. There's a couple of things you can do here, right? One is just keep playing. Take your second shot at it. Take your third shot at it, right? That's one way of looking at it. You brought the bankroll to do that, okay? Another way to do it is say, well, I'm really just going to lose one. I'm going to make that my loss goal, and I'm going to be out of here. That's another option, okay? The third option you have is to take this money here, this $400, okay, and divide it again down into 3. And this is what the tiering down might feel like to you, okay? Let's take this, and now instead of having 400 twice, right? How can I make this look like 3? Like 3 even stacks. We're close to it, right? So there's 125, 125, 125, and an extra quarter, okay? That might look like 5 nickels. Okay? Here we have 3 stacks now that are that are 5 units tall. Remember, we need 8. We need 8 to make it work, right? We need 2 shots of 8. So I can take 125 plus maybe a quarter, maybe a nickel. So 130. Let's just take that as an example, right? Divide that into 4 chunks, right? Might be easier, a little bit bigger numbers, but instead of 125 or 2 quarters as your 1, 3, 2, 4 shot, maybe these become $15 shots, right? Maybe instead of 25, maybe it's $15. What you do is you tier yourself down and say 15, 15. That's a bullet. 1, 3, so it's $15 sizes instead of $25 sizes. So you take your existing bankroll, back it all up a little bit when you lose a little bit, right? Come back down to earth and still take 3 cracks at it, but from a lower level. And now you've got 30, 60, 90, 120 is your 4 shots. Maybe 125 is the right number, right? And you've got 4 shots of $30. So make your bankroll last longer by cutting your bets down in size, letting the table come back to you, and then tiering up from there. And that's, I think, an important way to think about it, right? You can go, and again, we'll do 30. Let's get all the stacks of 3 here so you can see it. 1, 2, 3. There's 120. There's your 125 with a nickel change. And again, and I'll put these in the back just so you can see they're here, but they're smaller size. Now we go with this. And so instead of putting a quarter out here as your base, you're putting $15 as your base. And if you win that one, fantastic. You can layer it up with 15 from your rack. Now using 2 shots of 15. What happens from this is this. If that happens to win, it's 15, 30, 45, 25, 45, and you're back to 2. This comes back in the rack. If the 2 wins for $30, you stack it up. What you got out here now is 60. If 60 happens to win, you pull the move off from the $15 level. Guess what happens to your rack? It all comes back, right? You can rebuild and reset your rack now from where you were. You can take all of this and go right back up to all quarters again. So if you tier down when you're losing, right? Give yourself the same 3 bullets, but make them smaller bullets. You can pull the move off and rebuild your rack to being squared up again. Okay, let's see how close we got to it, actually. I'm going to take a look here. If that move happens to work for us, which is always a huge if, right? 2, 3, 4, and here's our extra nickel from before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters, right? How close did we get to fixing the rack? Right? There's one slot of 200. Okay. There is two slots of 200. Right? You've rebuilt your rack to the point from $15 to where you have two full-size shots left. See what I'm saying? Your last one's a little small. If you have to dig into the $15 again, or you can stay at the $15 level, make these, again, $15 shots, and build it back up. That's the idea here between tiering up and tiering down. When your bankroll is light, right, you can play the same ways at a smaller number. Work it, work it, work it, right? Get back to normal, reset your rack, lock up any profits you have, and then go again. Make the decision all the time. You can always elect to leave when you're up a little bit. You can elect to make it bigger, elect to make it smaller. And that's how I use the rack, right? This thing here is the best source of information that you've got of what you can do. What is your bankroll capable of? When you're down to here only, not a lot of places for you to go to, right? Tiering your bet size down a little bit in accordance with this makes sense. And it could very easily happen that you have a couple of bad sessions, right? And you're down to this in your real bank, right? Where you've lost $1,000 in total. And now you're down to a 5K in the bank. That means you're buying in for $500, not for $600 again. You got to tier it all backwards, right? Now you're buying in for $500 instead of $600 like you were before, and you have to find a new way to play. Either play this way with less money, or play a different way with the $500. It's going to grind it out for you, right? You got to use what you have available to you. So as this bank account, your master goes down, so does your buy-in, so does your size of your average bet, and so does your win goal. As it increases, hopefully this increases, and these become $700, $800, $1,100 each over time. That's how the daily paycheck worked. I started out with 10 grand, and every time I won $100, I'd stop playing and I'd buy in the next time for 1,010. And then I bought in for 1,013. And then I bought in for 1,040. And that's how we literally did that whole show. A little bit at a time, tiering things up as you go. In the end, the buy-ins were $5,000 and the bets were $1,000 each. It was the same strategy. Never really changed that. We just changed the bet sizing. We tiered up as we won and down as we lost. And that's an important bit. I think that, honestly, if I come back to the other screen, is I think one of the, where's my mouse? Here it is. Let's go back to here. I think will get me there, right? Yeah, there's. All right. If we go back and look at this screen, right? The grinders, a little bit of losing, a whole lot of winning, foot out the door. What does foot out the door mean? Foot out the door means either after a series is over, am I up or am I down? If I'm down, I can make my bet size smaller. If I'm up, I can make my bet size bigger. If I'm down, I can say that was enough, I'm going to walk. If I'm up, I can say that's enough, I'm making sure I leave that, and I can resize my wins and play the thing again with different size bets, right? Having your rack always in lockstep with what you want to do, I think is a critical piece of the whole thing. It's part of the secret sauce, right? It's understanding what your rack's telling you and what your bets can be. You buying for $200, your bets shouldn't be 40, right? And this works with anything, right? This works with, if you're going to play, sorry, the keyboard's in the way, but if you're going to work with, again, maybe your budget per shooter is 125. Why 125? Well, you have a pass line bet and max odds, right? Sorry, 150. 125 behind this. Let's say it's the point of 6, right? If that's your budget, right? It's 1 and it's 5 behind, okay? 150 per shooter. And that happens to win. Let's look at it, right? If that wins, fantastic. That wins 1. And the 125 back here is going to pay 6 of those. You're going to get paid 150. Do I have enough? Paid 150. Okay. That's a fantastic win, right? You risked 125 or you risked the 150, right? Here's your win. You can, if it's the first shooter, walk out of there. Got enough money to walk, right? You could say, well, you know what? On the next shooter, I'm going to take this win and I'm going to go out here at 50, or maybe I'll go out there at 35 with 15 change. And when the point gets on a 5, Now I've got more money to play with, right? I can go 4 times 35, which is whatever that is, 140 bucks, right? Or 145. Right. It's 125, 35, 140. It's 145 behind. Okay. So you take your win, you still have your original money back, right? Now you've tiered it all up. So when this wins again, it's an extra 10 here and it's an extra 40 or an extra 30 bucks over here, right? This is how you do it. That's how you do it. You win small when you lose small when you lose, you win big when you win. That's the idea of grinding and building that bankroll up. And again, I think if you don't do stuff like that, if you're just going to sit here and go 25 and max odds, 25 and max odds, you're going to get your ass handed to you, right? 25 max odds win. Now it looks like 35 in max odds. You win again, it's 50 in max odds. You keep tiering that thing up as you go. If you lose 2 or 3 in a row, maybe you're going to go to $15 in max odds until you get it back. Till you get back one of those shots, and then you can go back to normal size again. Tiering your bets up or down as you go is, to me, critical, right? That's where the gallon of jet fuel comes in. That's where I'm coming from with this. The gallon of jet fuel just means I've taken my wins and I'm layering them on, and I have the balls to do it, right? I might be the wherewithal to say, yeah, it's okay, man. I got this win. I'm going to put it to work for me as long as I've locked something up. But you got to use your rack to know where you are. If you don't have your rack set to knowing where you are, you cannot make those decisions. You're guessing. And that's what the bridge is about. So no odds working. The bridge is about not guessing. It's about not guessing. It's about being right here. All right. That's everything for today, guys. I'm going to go check some chats here and see if we have anything. Let's see. Where's my, there we go. All right. Let's check for there's a lot of stuff going on here. Let's check for cues first. All right. Tom Marco says, is the G Money 5 and 9? It is. So that's a great example, actually. Can I show people that? Do you have time? I have time. Let me show you the G Money. The G Money is like, it's the best. Let's go here. The G Money special, sorry, my table's a mess. I've been moving chips over the place, but here's how this works. It's a tier up, tier down thing. Basically, you got to even numbers. Okay, so let's take 20 as an example on the 9. $20 on the 9. That pays $28. Okay, here's the G Money move is this. Take the 28, add 2 from your rack, so it looks like 30. Right? Then press it to 50. So you take all this and it becomes 50 bucks. Okay, when it wins 70. The magic of the move is that you started out with 20, right? So you got $100 in net profit. Okay, what you do though from this point forward, this is the leveling up. This is the next tier. So you take 20, 40. You go to 40 bucks. You've got your more than $20 over here. You're locking up profit. You've locked up 55. You're keeping your original 20. Now you're betting 40. Okay, and the idea here is 40 pays $55, $56. You're going to add 4 to it and make it look like 100. That's 3 greens and the reds, right? It goes to 100. And again, when the 100 wins, it wins 140, which magically was $100 plus your original 40. Okay, the next move is to go to 80. Again, you're locking up some and you're pressing up some. So you're tiering up as you win. Now, if you get planked in here, you start back over at 20, right? Or you can say, let's say you lose that one. Cool. Well, it won a few times, right? That 9 started at 20 bucks. We'll just call it a quarter, okay? And you profited here with it, right? There's nothing wrong with the next time. Your original money is already back. You're up here. Start it with 80. Start at the $80 level, right? If you've won, tier up your base. Don't waste time going from 20 to 40 to 80. Go to 80. You're still locking up $100 in profit. That's the G Money way, right? And I think that thing doesn't always just press to the moon. It does a press and a little bit of a regress every time. And the reason for that, the real reason for it, is so that you can lock up a bunch and tier up your next level. And if you lose at that next level, it doesn't matter. You've locked up enough money to start at that new level. Start at the new level. That's an important thing. If you don't use those wins If you don't use your wins against the casino, right, you're going to have problems. You're going to be at that same level all the time and getting planked. You got to use your wins against them or use your wins to get the hell home. Either way, right? It's really, really important. Quit when you've won, not when you're tired. I love that quote. All right. What other things do we have here? PC quote. I'm just going to go through really quick. Let's see. PC says, no piece of this point seems valid. If people would value time with an influencer, why not offer coaching? You know what? For charity, I would totally do that, right? For me, it's just like, how are you going to do it? You got to come to Vegas. We got to find a mutual time to do it. I would absolutely do it, given time, right? Given time and availability, I would, or logistical availability, I would 100% do it. Yeah. All right. Let's go look at what else is happening. I know Odds Working is blowing the chat up. I'm not sure if you guys are arguing or having a good conversation there, but I think you're wrong about this, right? Focusing on reducing house edge is not the only way, right? I think leveraging your wins is the way, right? The focusing on house edge, to me, it's too myopic, right? And again, grinding low house edge plays, they're good plays, but there's no opportunity in a low house edge way of playing unless you level things up. If you don't level your wins up and you don't back down on your losses, playing low house edge just means the rate at which you're going to lose your money. You've got to lean in when it's going well. On a low house edge play too. Pass line max odds at 25 and whatever, great. You win it, you got to go to 30 or 35 and do the same thing. You got to keep leveling up. If you don't level up the low house edge plays, you're not going to win. And that's what it comes down to. And I don't disagree with playing low house edge styles of play. Pass line odds or come with odds, that's great. But when they win, you've got to level them up. If you don't leverage the win, you're going to get your ass kicked. And that's why I say, if you're only house edge and you're just same betting it, that's why I say you've given up. People who play that way have completely just given up trying. If you don't lean in to the wins and you don't back off the losses, you don't manage your money correctly, even on a proper lowest house edge possible way to play, you're going to get destroyed. It's why when I go play blackjack, the way that I bet blackjack, I kick everybody's ass at that table. We're all having the same shoe. The dealer's busting or hitting their 20s against everybody at that table. Yet everybody at the fucking table is buying in 2 and 3 times. I'm walking out of there with 100% profit. Why? It's how I bet. It's the lowest house edge I can play, right? It's a 0.5% edge, basic strategy, right? We're all doing basically the same thing. I'm winning, they're not, because I bet better. And that's what this is all about. This is all about betting properly when it's going your way and betting properly when it's not going your way. I don't care if you play low house edge or you play the 4 and 10 or the 5 and 9. It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't leverage your wins, you're going to walk away a loser. You're going to hate your life. And that's why I say, don't flip the table and just give up. And that's where I think the message, if any message comes out of today, that's got to be today's message. Use their money against them. It's what makes them scared. People who manage their money, people who know how to use leveraged plays to make wins is what bothers the casinos. People who will same bet the low house edge shit all day long and whatever, they are the ones that casinos just licking their chops. Come on, baby. Come on and same bet that low house edge play all day long. I will take your lunch. I'm taking theirs. That's the way I do it. Yep. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Have a great day. I got a couple things for you before I go. One is going to be what's coming up next week. We'll do some more strategy tweaks and testing. That'll be kind of fun. I'm going to do Skill and Luck has a new strategy. Not a new one. It's his tweak to the Headless Horseman. It's such a departure from the Horseman. I can't call it the Horseman. I'm gonna name it the Mustang. It's just something different. I'm also gonna look at the retirement plan a little bit. I'm gonna play it out a couple of days next week and just see how it feels. I haven't really played it, so we'll give it a shot and see why is that damn thing 100 gonna be 100 now. Your quote of the day is this. Quote of the week: life is like a helicopter. I don't know how to operate a helicopter, which means nothing other than we're all running without a net. We're all running with scissors without any help. You got to embrace a little bit of that. It's okay. It's okay to not know how to operate it. Just don't try and go too fast, right? Like embrace the mystery. And I'll leave you with the one last thing before I get out of here. I saw this last night and I thought this was pretty funny. the average adult spends about $255 a year on their hobbies, and I would say that craps players probably are the outlier. We're the ones that make the average higher, right? So anyway, that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you. Actually, you know what? Next week I will be, if I broadcast at all next week, it'll be from a hotel. I'm going to be gone. I'm out filming next week on the road. I'll be in California for a week. So next week's shows, if I do them, will be short, punchy ones in the morning from my hotel. It won't be like this style. So there it is. I'm out. Y'all have a great one. Love y'all. Bye-bye.